Hello everybody, my name is Cole Miller, and today we're going to take a look at the 2018 RMU Day of Giving project I was involved in here at the university. Now what the Day of Giving is a 24-hour period where we ask students, staff, faculty, alumni, and friends to give back to the university. And our success criteria, which I'll talk about later, was measured at seeing if we could get 300 donors in that 24-hour period. Now this event did already take place, so as I go through this presentation, I'll kind of give the planning side of things, and then what actually happened during the day. So for a little bit more about this Day of Giving, it was RMU's first ever Day of Giving, which we considered a risk in itself. Now, other universities had done this and have been doing this for quite some time, but we never have, and we didn't know how the alumni and faculty and staff would react to this sort of thing, if it would be positive and we get a lot of people donating, or if it wouldn't be positive and we wouldn't get any donations. Now, donations took place primarily online through a giving platform called Give Campus. It was all, or primarily all, digital and social media marketing, sent out through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We gave not only sort of our vocal alumni, but as well as our schools, like school communication, business, nursing, social media toolkits, so the deans and professors of those schools could go out and sort of make their own posts in support of this day. We also had two on and off-campus events. The on-campus event was at the gazebo on campus, center of campus, and the off-campus location was at the Yard down in downtown Pittsburgh. The purpose of the event was really twofold. The first was to increase the overall donors and donations to university funds. It's worth noting that donors weren't limited to the funds that they could give to. They could give to, say, the school they graduated from, or to the athletics team they played in, or kind of anything else that they felt that they were impacted by on campus. The second was to increase the U.S. News and World Report rankings, which I'll spare you how these rankings actually work, but one of the criteria is to look at the percentage of undergraduate donors, so donors with a bachelor degree, that give back to their university. Now, it's worth noting that these U.S. News and World Report rankings are kind of a debated thing among colleges, with a lot of them feeling that they're not really worth it and they're kind of a sham. But others, really stick to the fact that, these rankings define how good of a university they are. Now, our success criteria was pretty simple. It was 300 donors throughout this 24-hour period. Now, it's a donor, not dollar goal, because in fundraising, it can be very hard to get an accurate estimate of how many dollars you want to raise. So we could have said, we would like to raise $10,000. But in itself, that can be a bit of a deterrent, because as people see that you're closer to that dollar mark, they may be less inclined to give the amount they wanted to give because they think, oh, it's so close, other people can make up that difference. Now, we had other internal goals that we kind of didn't make public, and they were more for us, more for research purposes. One of the things was through the various communications we sent out, whether it be through social media, texting, Facebook, the websites, we had trackable giving links, so we could see from which link people clicked on to access the Give Campus page to actually donate. Now, for us, that tells us that the methods that we tried to reach them at were the most successful, and we can employ them in the future. So for our resources, we used mainly in-house RMU staff. That would be full-time staff, part-time staff, graduate assistants like myself, student workers, and student volunteers. Now, we had only one outside resource, which was the individual that does the literature for the marketing department. We had no material expenses, because as I said before, all of this is digital media marketing. And no travel expenses either, because the staff that was going to travel to Pittsburgh to the Yard was going to do so at their own expense, which, being that the Yard was only maybe 30 minutes away, we thought that was acceptable. Major deliverables for the project were mainly marketing-related materials. We needed text message wording for the donors we were going to text, and for that we used our student workers because they were wording these text messages to go to other students. The matching gifts form, so if people wanted to do a matching gift or say, X amount of people donate to the School of Business, then they'll unlock, they'll donate $5,000. We needed those forms. The Give Campus and OMU web pages themselves needed set up, as well as the marketing literature and the social media marketing. Now, the social media marketing had a social media toolkit that we gave to basically anyone that wanted one, that had sort of the templates and the wording lined out for them to make their own posts in support of this day. So I have here a very sort of high-level, bare-bones schedule that we first established whenever we started this project. Now, we did start, early June was just kind of talking about this and getting the overall plan for this project together. I had done research when I first started my position into other universities' days of giving, as well as my boss had done research years prior into this sort of thing. I can tell you right now that we changed this plan quite a bit. Again, when we worked on this using all in-house staff, they had their regular duties to attend to, as well as do this project. So a lot of it was just like, we need this by this date. So they had up until that point in time to get it done. A few times we would need something sort of immediately, and we would have to take a whole day to work on it. Other than that, we were maybe only spending, at most an hour or two some days or some weeks to work on this. And I can tell you for a fact that there were weeks went by that we didn't work on this at all. So it was kind of, difficult at times having to hop back and forth. Or I know for me, I was in charge of getting the entertainment. We had a DJ for the on-campus celebration. And a lot of it was, waiting on this guy to respond back to me, and then it was through email, so it would be getting, payments sorted out and confirmations. So that took a lot of time as well. So the quality plan for the project really revolved around the marketing deliverables. For the website, this is things like, does it accurately explain what the day of giving is to people who maybe didn't receive any of the other communications? Did the links redirect properly? For the Give Campus page, does the page function properly? Because if it doesn't function, people can't make a gift. And are the challenges in matching gifts displayed as well? Now, a lot of this was during our weekly team meetings we had, and all this had a final approval by the project lead. The quality plan for the social media and other marketing revolved around having the event dates and times displayed correctly and easy to understand, as well as the school-specific literature correctly corresponding to whatever school we were sending this social media toolkit to. Now, for non-deliverable components, those were handled via the weekly meetings and continuous feedback among coworkers and our boss. So I have here the work breakdown structure for the project. It was basically separated into four main things, being the mini events, the texting, Give Campus, and the marketing, which was handled by the marketing department. Now, I put this in lieu of the responsibility matrix because pretty much everyone that's listed as being responsible was the only main person for that task or that work item. I know between me and my coworker Michaela, we would kind of help each other need be, but other than that, since we were working on this over such a long length of time, we really didn't need, two people on one item. That would have been a waste of resources in our eyes. So I have here a hybrid network responsibility diagram, and as you can see, there were really only 8 main people involved in this project. Now, we did use other office staff to spread the word and to get in matching gifts, as well as 2 student workers, but for the bulk of it, the people that were listed here are the ones that really, their main focus was this project. So I have here the estimated cost of the project. I can tell you right now, though, that trying to make an estimate for this was very difficult. As I've said before, we didn't work on this dedicated throughout, length of time. It's not even like we took an hour a week to work on it. It could have been 3 hours a week. It could have been we didn't touch this thing until 2 weeks later. So really, these costs are here, but I just want you to keep that in mind. It's also worth noting that the labor rate here is fictitious, since I don't actually know what these individuals make, and I was not about to ask them. So I have here some risks associated with the project, specifically the on-campus event that I was in charge of. Just to go through a few here, if we were to get rained out that day or during that day, we had an indoor space already reserved, and so all I had to do is get the volunteers to help me sort of pick up the tabling and everything and move it inside, help the DJ move in there. If the entertainment, the DJ, didn't show up that day, well, I had confirmed his booking beforehand, at least 2 weeks from the day before. But if he still didn't show up, then someone with a better taste in music than me would just plug a phone into a speaker and off we'd go. Now, for the bottom one, the lack of donations, with this being the first ever day of giving, this is a very real possibility. Now, that likelihood of occurrence we had put at medium, because who knows, it could be, we could have smashed this 300 donor goal, early in the day, or it could be, 7, 8 o'clock at night with only 4 hours left, and we have all our staff, getting the word out, talking to people and everything. So, the degree of impact would have been high for this. As I just said, along with this, if this happens, faculty and staff were really encouraged to push others to donate. Hopefully they would have donated themselves, which luckily that didn't happen, which I'll get onto here at the next slide. So, in the end, did we hit our goal? Well, we hit it and surpassed it. As you can see here, when all the gifts were entered and we sort of got all the last-minute donations that may have been mailed in and came in a day late, but they were postmarked for the 20th and whatnot, we had a total of 839 donors with $110,287 raised. Down below, with their affiliations, you can see we had 51% alumni, 14% student, 14% parents, 24% faculty and staff, and 9% friends. And it is worth noting that when you choose your affiliation, you could have chosen both. So if you're an alumni as well as staff, you could designate both. Now, sort of more of when this was going on throughout the day, there was an email chain of everybody in the office, and we kept sending back the updated numbers. And when we hit 300, I forget what time this was, maybe around noon or so, maybe a little bit before that, we were ecstatic. We were like, yeah, we hit our goal. Let's just see how far we can go. We had no idea we were going to get this high. We hit 400, we were amazed. We hit 500, we were amazed. 600, we were speechless. 700, we didn't have any idea what was going to happen. At the end of the day, when the final number came out of 839, or a couple days later, we all just kind of sat back and said, wow. To me, it speaks to not only this project, but also the countless faculty, staff, students who were involved in making it possible for both the on-campus and off-campus events, getting the matching gifts in, spreading the word. And it speaks really to the RMU community, that on this day, the RMU community came together and gave back. And, being involved in something like that was really amazing. And I really hope that, they choose to do this event next year, that it's just as successful as this year, possibly just even more successful. It'd just be great to see. In the end, I really enjoyed working on this project, and it's definitely something that I'll never forget. So that concludes the presentation, everybody. I want to say thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.